Hello and welcome to Comic Drake, where I talk about comic books. My name is Drake. Pamela Isley, aka Poison Ivy, is one of Batman's most iconic foes, and her love of plants is second to none. But because she loves plants this much, what does she eat? Does she eat plant life of any kind? Does she strictly stick to meat? Or does she have a different kind of diet entirely? Well, let's find out. The subject of Poison Ivy's diet is seldom talked about in comics, which has led to a lot of confusion over the years. Many claim that as a plant-human hybrid, she nourishes herself through photosynthesis, simply requiring carbon dioxide, water, and sunlight. This can be backed up by the fact that Ivy drinks an abnormal amount of water, but outside of that, I haven't seen any evidence to back that claim up. In fact, we've seen that Pamela is also known to consume beer, wine, and coffee. So, what gives? Well, this might mean that Ivy is a fruitarian. This is an extreme offshoot of veganism that consists of a diet of fruits, nuts, seeds, or any food that can be harvested without harming the plant. Since fruit and nuts tend to naturally fall off and can be harvested with no problems whatsoever, it makes a lot of sense for the character to go this route. Or, in this case, root, since that would make a pretty good plant pun. This would also certainly explain her being okay with drinking wine and coffee, with them being fermented grapes and roasted fruit seeds respectively. The beer we see Pamela drink could also be explained away because most beers use fermented barley grain, or it could even be an alcoholic cider, which is becoming very popular in recent years. This fruitarian diet can also be backed up by this scene in Gotham City Sirens, where Pamela comments that her food, clothing, and shelter can all be provided by plant life, and more blatantly in this scene, where she rapidly grows a plethora of fruit for breakfast. It turns out, however, that this theory does not hold up when we take a look at the Harley Quinn solo series. Not gonna lie, I was super disappointed when I was flipping through this series for research and I saw Ivy with this big old plate of nothing. I pretty much lost it, however, when on the very next page, she took one of Harley's fries. That is, until I realized that we don't actually see her eat it. Yeah, Ivy just looking at food in front of her is nothing new for this series. However, this scene of Ivy eating some sort of mystery soup has to be evidence of something, right? It's most likely that this isn't a fruit-based soup. Well, unless it's tomato, but it's not red. So does that mean that Ivy eats vegetables? Well, if we look to Batman the Animated Series, then she can plainly be seen eating a salad. While we tend to exclusively focus on comics here, this is one of the most definitive eating moments in all of Poison Ivy history. Wouldn't this be akin to cannibalism? Well, at this point in the animated series, Pamela wasn't a plant hybrid yet. It could very well be possible that her connection to plant life just wasn't as strong when this scene went down. Even then, there were some instances where this could still make sense. In some plants, pruning is actually beneficial to maintaining their health. By clearing out dead and or overgrown branches and stems, it helps promote healthy growth by eliminating easy entry points for insects and helps prevent diseases from spreading to the rest of the plant's body. In other cases, pruning can actually lead to better quality fruits and flowers since the plant doesn't need to nourish a larger body. There's also a chance that Ivy sees herself as a weed. No, not that kind of weed. Well, I mean, Ivy is no stranger to marijuana, but then again, the book that this is from was written by Kevin Smith, so yeah. Weeds aren't any particular type of plant, just ones that are unwanted. If roses started to grow in an arrangement where a gardener only wanted lilies, then the roses would actually be considered weeds in this particular instance. However, most plants that are typically regarded as weeds are so because they rapidly grow and take nutrients that would normally go to the plants that are actually desired. By this logic, then Ivy could certainly eat other plants by seeing herself as a superior. So what about meat? After all, carnivorous plants do exist, even if their depiction in comics are unrealistic to say the least. In that instance, I've actually been hard-pressed to find any moment of Ivy eating meat, outside of the TV show Gotham, but that version's metahumans are unlike pretty much any other Batman continuity. Literally the best I could find is an official personality quiz from the DC Superhero Girl spin-off series to find out which character you're the most like. Fun fact, this quiz isn't even available anymore, so I was only able to access it through some internet archives. Even then, it has several missing images. One of the questions on this quiz is, what is your fave thing to have for lunch? Salad is an option, But apparently, that's for Harley Quinn. Poison Ivy's answer is bacon and eggs. Oh, and in case you were wondering, yes, I did take the quiz. Apparently, I'm Harley Quinn, which bothers me because I am clearly Katana. Anyway, if we hop back to the main comic book continuity, then we recently had a definitive answer to Pamela's diet. She's vegan. Apparently, she thanks the plants for the nutrition and lets it pass back to the earth. Outside of that, we're not really given much of a reason. However, it's probably because being a vegan is great for the environment, as it takes more land to ranch than to grow crops. So why go through all of this if the quick in-continuity reason is that she's vegan? Well, that's because it might not be true. You see, the scene that depicts Ivy as a vegan is from Batgirl and the Birds of Prey in 2017. Just a few months later, Ivy goes on a full-on rampage in the Damage series. Why? Because she thinks that farming is murder. It also doesn't make a whole lot of sense during that time that Ivy took over the entire planet, where she left Batburger open and still served up meat, oddly enough. We know for a fact that this restaurant has veggie patties and vegan cheese, so if she really was a vegan, then why would she allow Bruce and Selina to eat anything else if it really is better for the environment? It's going to be super disappointing, but the legitimate answer is that nobody really knows what Poison Ivy eats. Not even the writers. Now, I might be a loser obsessed with continuity that has way too much time on his hands, but by not falling into the stereotype that vegans will definitely let you know, it's left things pretty ambiguous and easily forgotten by future writers. With hundreds of writers handling these beloved characters over the years, then small details are just bound to slip through the cracks. But I guess with all of these inconsistencies, that makes Ivy a bit of a loose cannon. But if you like this video, then why not consider subscribing or even watching another one? In fact, if you want to learn more about Batman, then I have a massive playlist with every Batman video that I've ever done, so you might want to go check that out. Anyway, I hope you learned at least a little something new, and maybe I'll see you next time.